drive-thrus, and they are primarily breakfast.
I didn't know they had drive-thrus. I just thought it was like a weird Waffle House.
With a drive-thru, that would be weird.
And wrong colors.
So Joe and I went kind of back and forth. We're trying to figure out. We thought maybe it sounded Southern. And I was trying to remember. So I'm a pretty big fan of the Try Guys on YouTube. And Keith does these series called Eat the Menu, where he eats like everything on a restaurant's menu.
Whoa.
Not like all of it, but like a bite of each thing. And to determine what's the best thing that restaurant has. And the first thing that he opens with is just like a history of that restaurant. So I'm trying to think, I'm like, did he ever talk about this restaurant? The places that were primarily breakfast were the places like Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme. And he's done one on Dunkin' Donuts. And I thought maybe I can convince myself that I remember him saying open kettle.
Please, God,
so we ended up looking.
Please, God, no.
So we ended up going with Dunkin'.
Okay. Well, this company was bought out by Baskin Robbins in 1990.
Oh, my God.
It was Dunkin' Donuts.
God.
We're like paddling backwards.
This is awful. I feel bad. I feel bad, Matt. It's like maybe I need to get you on a different episode.
Or I'm sitting here going, well, this is Matt Chestnut's last episode of
Oh, my God.
Gosh.
Oh, geez.
As we continue this train wreck rolling, last question in round 2 is in beverages. And this famously canned beverage was inspired by a drink from Thailand called Karatang Dang in 1987. It now holds the highest market share of any energy drink, with 7.5 billion cans sold each year as of 2019. And Karatang Dang is spelled KaratingDaeng.
All right, we're on the same page. If we're wrong, then we can live with it.
Are you sure?
No.
This one's not a coin flip for you?
I mean, it is, but we made our flip quickly. Our penny's just laying on the ground at this point. It's just we're just sticking with whatever side is facing up. We're not flipping it anymore.
Mine has 2 heads. I figured that out. It's wrong.
All right, Joe, so you and I can talk.
Yeah, you mentioned Red Bull. Obviously, that's the first thing I thought of too.
It's the oldest one I can think of.
I was just trying to cycle through some other energy drinks, and they're all like random generic names.
Yeah.
Monster,
Yeah, Monster, I remember being like really popular when I was like in high school, so that would have been like the 2000s. I remember Red Bull commercials when I was a kid. Red Bull gives you wings or whatever. So I think it's older.
87?
I don't know, man. I can't. Energy drinks for me are such a newish thing,
Mm-hmm.
But obviously something's been around long enough, and Red Bull is the only one I could think of that has, one, the market reach, and 2, that might be the oldest that I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I think of energy drinks, I pretty much focus on Red Bull too, so. And if he says it has the largest market share, it's probably not going to be something obscure. So,
right.
I'm good.
All right, so we're gonna go with Red Bull.
Okay,
Jonathan, I think we're around the same age, I would throw out the original energy drink was Jolt Cola. And
don't forget Surge.
Surge, man. Surge was like the Mountain Dew of Jolt Cola, right? So those are good. And Jonathan and I kind of went down the same road. It was, Jonathan threw 2 names out, Red Bull or 5 Hour Energy. I remember Red Bull coming out probably in the late 90s. I don't think it was before that. I think it was right around time I was getting out of college. So I think that's when I saw Red Bull coming out. Tasted awful then, tastes awful now for me anyway. So we went with Red Bull as well.
Okay. And your answer is, if you think about it, their iconic can is a very slim design with blue and silver on it. It is Red Bull.
It's Bread Bowl? I want some Bread Bowl. That sounds amazing.
Did I say Bread Bowl? Or
a little bit. A little bit. It is Bread Bowl. I was like, yes.
I think I'm going to Panera for lunch today.
That sounds great.
After 2 rounds, Carmel and Joe still in the lead, 60 to Jonathan and Matt's 20. as we talked about during the warming up, Chris, and thanks to Carmel and Jonathan's suggestion, round 3 is a triple tri-bond round. That's right. It's round 3. It's 3 questions, and they're all tri-bonds. So here we go. Your first question in round 1 is a music tri-bond. And the question is, what musical group had the following 3 albums? A Night at the Opera, A Kind of Magic, Innuendo.
Matt, we can lock in. I don't know what you're sending, but I know the answer.
You got some meow meows, Jonathan?
I got all the meow meows. Wait, why won't my phone unlock?
Yeah. I also have meow meows, so.
Ooh. Well, then I think we're going to have a 3, 2, 1 coming up.
Would you? All right, I will count it down then. 3, 2, 1.
Queen.
All right, Queen is correct. Well done. Your second tri-bond in the tri-bond round is a movie tri-bond. And your question is, what actor or actress was in the following 3 movies? Dogma, Grown Ups, Wild Wild West.
I can lock that in too, Matt. I'll tell you what it is. Yep, we're locked in.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, I just did a show called Hollywood Cast Connection, which kind of works like this, where I try to figure out who was in what movie together. So I know Salma Hayek was in Dogma. I think I remember her in Wild Wild West. I've never seen Grown Ups, so that's the only one I don't remember.
Yeah, I've seen Dogma, I've seen Wild Wild West, but I haven't seen Grown Ups either. So,
okay. Do you remember Salma Hayek in Wild Wild West?
I think that's most people, by the way. Most people have seen the first 2 and not Grown Ups.
Hey, Grown Ups was better than Wild Wild West. Thank you very much.
Well, I saw Wild Wild West, when I was a kid or whatever. Working at a movie theater ruined going to the movies for me. So I don't go to the movies that much. I watch movies, but I don't go to the movies that much.
I was just going to say, Jonathan, don't dog it.
But Salma Hayek is probably the best I'm going to get out of that, because Jason Mewes wasn't in Wild Wild West. I don't think, oh gosh, what's her last name? Linda something. She was also in Men in Black.
I know who you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know her last name either.
I don't think she was in Wild Wild West. Chris Rock wasn't in Wild Wild West. Jason Lee wasn't in Wild Wild West. I think it's going to be Salma Hayek.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right, so Salma Hayek.
And Jonathan and Matt.
She was one of my 20-year-old crushes. It was 100% Salma Hayek.
And your answer is Salma Hayek. Well done, everybody.
Yay.
Salma Hayek played Adam Sandler's wife in Grown Ups, and I believe it's Linda Fiorentino was who you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. It's funny that you meant that it ended up being Salma Hayek, because I just talked about being on Hollywood Cast Connection, and that was one of the connections I had to make, was I had to connect Salma Hayek to somebody else, and I used Dogma for it. So.
Nice. Respect. All right. Your final question in the tri-bond round is a literature tri-bond.
Literature. We're tri-bound with the bread bowl.
That's right. And what author wrote the following 3 novels? Cat's Cradle, Dead-Eye Dick, Hocus Pocus.
I can lock in, Matt.
I knew it after the first one. I just couldn't write his name down.
Actually, without the first one, I wouldn't know it. That's the only one I knew. I'm just making sure Matt's
Joe?
good. Yep, we're locked in.
All right, so are we.
So I read Cat's Cradle in my 20s or so, and I didn't know what to expect. It was the first thing I'd ever read by this author, and it was surprisingly good. And it was Kurt Vonnegut Jr., or just Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, I've read a few Vonnegut's. Cat's Cradle, when you said that, I'm like, there's only one person who has that book title, so we said Vonnegut. All
right, probably should have chose that as the last one. The answer is Kurt Vonnegut. Well, I've read
Dead-Eye Dick too, so.
Well, I was trying to choose maybe at least 1 or 2 lesser known novels, and then have one that was I don't want to say an insta-get, but fairly insta-get. All right, so after 3 rounds, Jonathan and Matt kind of got their groove back in round 3. But Carmel and Joe are tearing it up. It is 90-50. So with Carmel and Joe in the lead, 90-50, I have actually 2 midpoint categories. Jonathan and Matt, I'm going to give you those 2 categories, and I want you to choose one of them, and then we'll use that as the question for our midpoint.
Okay, cool.
your midpoint categories are United States geography or Canadian politics.
Matt, this isn't this isn't about them. This is about us.
Yeah, it's about us knowing United States geography as opposed to, unless he answers Justin Trudeau, I'm out.
Yeah, no, me too. Let's do
4
U.S.
times.
So, Justin Trudeau 4 times.
Yeah,
U.S. geography,
Trudeau
please.
way. Yes.
We'll throw it to Pierre Trudeau just in case.
All right, locking that in. Here we go. All right, so for 4 points each, I want you to name the 5 states that contain the Continental Divide Trail that spans from Canada to Mexico.
Really great if I knew where the Continental Divide was. So you want us to name 4 of the 5?
Nope, it is. I want you, for 4 points each, I want you to name all 5.
Oh, name all 5. Okay.
Yep.
All right, we're going to lock in.
All right. So I want to go straight up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. Like I said, I flip Nebraska and Kansas all the time. And I apologize to my friends in Kansas. I don't mean to do that. I think, is Iowa to the east of Kansas? Because that's in Meemaw. So Minnesota,
Kansas,
Iowa, Missouri.
I think Kansas and Missouri share that border because Kansas City is in between Missouri and Kansas.
That's true. Okay. So that's to the east. I want to go straight up.
Because I think Missouri is beneath Iowa because it's also next to Illinois.
Yeah, because Meemaw is Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana.
Up would be Nebraska.
Okay. And then above that would be...
I don't know if it's Minnesota or the Dakotas. If it's only 5 states, that would be Minnesota. But
I don't know. Montana's pretty big.
But I think that's more west.
It is, but does any of Nebraska touch Montana? Because it doesn't have to be a straight line.
Right.
It's like maybe it curves into Montana. If it was me by myself, I'd do Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. But you live closer to that area than I do. So.
Yeah, I've walked this trail numerous times. No. I'm good with what'd you say, Montana as the 5th one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. It's big and it's flat.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. That's our answer.
Okay. And Matt and Jonathan.
Yeah, I think we'll agree with you on Montana, but we think it's further west. We think it's in the mountains. We think it's in the Rockies, the Continental Divide. I actually grew up in Missouri, so it's really...
I was worried about that, but I didn't have a better way of going than straight up the middle.
No.
So how are you defining it, Carmela? I feel like we had different definitions for what we thought we were talking about.
We decided to go with Great Plains states because we thought that was
okay.
Before it gets into the mountains.
So when I hear Continental Divide, what I think is it's which direction the water flows. So it has to be a peak because when the rain falls, it flows down left on one side and right on the other side. And so that's why we went to the tallest states we could.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a good definition of what Continental Divide means.
Yeah.
I've actually I've had a chance to travel out there when I was a kid, so there's a lot of verbiage about the Continental Divide being out in that area. Now, which states they are. The 5 we picked, it kind of works down between if you kind of take down between Montana, Idaho, which set next to each other, Utah, Colorado are right below those, sitting next to each other, and then into New Mexico is really where we went. So we picked Montana, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico.
We're hoping it goes at an angle.
Yeah.
All right.
And if that's the definition, then my sister would get this question because she grew up in Colorado, not me.
I'm pretty sure that's the definition.
A very flat state.
From north to south, it goes Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico.
Okay.
So 16 points for Jonathan and Matt.
Utah and Colorado are side by side. So
and then
maybe
4
that's
points
why.
for Carmel and Joe.
The question for us, it's like there's it had to be a diagonal line to hit 5 states. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, does that diagonal go far enough south to clip Utah and go into Colorado? Or did it go far enough east to clip Wyoming and go into Colorado?
That makes sense.
Yeah. Wyoming's the one we left out. We had Wyoming and Arizona too. We made a guess of that's how it went. So we were close.
That's
Take that.
Well, we got one.
Yeah.
That's right. You did get one. So after the midpoint, Carmel and Joe still have